Back on TYT Sports with some more NBA playoffs action. Commenters, calm yourselves. My God, they write, the Raptors finally win a game, and you assholes, I'm quoting, you assholes don't come in to shoot it because why? Oh, because you hate the Raptors. It was Saturday at 6 o'clock at night.
No, but we don't care about the Raptors. That part's true.
When it came to Game 3, first of all, Raptors fan, I gave you credit for this one. I said a couple times that after Games 1 and 2, Kyle Lowry would finally get more comfortable. It always takes him a game or two. The Raptors
It takes him a game or two. Barely takes him 13.
Well, no. In every series, Games 1 and 2, he shoots atrocious from the field, like barring his starting job. And then in Games 3 and 4, usually he returns home and they're like, oh, wow, Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan when they shoot well.
Returns home. Like, you're not going to get taken seriously as a championship contender. Nobody does in the NBA until you win on the road, until your best players perform on the road. Everybody expects you to win at home.
And Kyle Lowry has
I like it. Look, I don't watch a lot. I like the Raptors a lot. Just for the record, if there's a specific Raptors fan out there who I'll never meet, like my second favorite city in North America. I mean, it's one of the great places in the world. Probably San Francisco, Toronto. I would live in Toronto. It's awesome. Everything about Toronto is fantastic. Everyone should live in Toronto. Toronto and Chicago, probably my favorite city. Toronto is, but this team. I mean, you independently, if you just watch these games, and I probably watched 2 Raptors games all season, and you read about Kyle Lowry, and then you see the playoffs, and you're like, wow, I don't understand it. But that said, when he fouled out of, I think it was Game 4 against the Heat. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it was Game 6. In the game that went to overtime, the Raptors blew like a 7-point lead with 2.5 minutes to play and then lost by 8 in overtime. I remember this game well because I had them at plus 8.5, and I couldn't believe I was about to lose. And then, unbelievably, I didn't. But when he fouled out, they couldn't run a play. Yeah. They could not get a shot off. They had 24-second clock violations. When they didn't, it was just somebody lower in their head, driving to the hoop and throwing it. It looked like our Sunday morning games. So they don't. So I'm stunned that they're here. I'm not stunned that they won a game at home. They do not look to the naked eye in any way like one of the 4 best teams in the NBA or anything close to one of the 4 best teams in the NBA. Yeah. And I'd be stunned. I wouldn't be stunned if they won another game. I'd be stunned if they won that series. But my hunch is they lose Game 4 and then they lose badly in Cleveland in Game 5. But I don't think Cleveland has much of a chance against whoever comes out of the West.
Really?
No, I completely disagree. But that's because Cleveland dominated in the paint, right? They have been destroying Toronto in the paint in the last 2 games before.
Toronto, Atlanta, Milwaukee.
The teams that they've been playing haven't.
Did they play Milwaukee in the first round?
No, they played Detroit.
No, it wasn't in the playoffs.
Who
The
did
Pistons.
Detroit.
Same thing.
Yeah, right. So, and this is the argument that we have.
Same thing.
This is the argument that many outlets run is like the East is
They played
garbage.
Milwaukee last year.
They're saying that the East is garbage, but you got to play who you're up against. And the East may be garbage, but they won 14 straight playoff games with no real.
10 straight.
10 straight playoff games, but they went 7 weeks unbeaten, I believe, with LeBron James on the court. And they stuck to their similar game plan. They took, I think, 40 plus 3 attempts. They still made 14. They still made more 3-pointers than what they had in Game 1 and 2 combined. So it shows that their game plan wasn't altered as much, but the reason they lost is because they weren't able to dominate the paint as much. Toronto were a lot more physical.
Well, Biyombo said they're tied Wilt Chamberlain with 26 rebounds.
They were dominant in that, and that's a mark of a good team trying to adjust and realize what they were losing.
Look, first of all, when any team, the Sixers, if you shoot the crap out of threes in an NBA game, you can win. So can the Cavaliers win? They have one of the 2 or 3 best players of all time on the court and a okay supporting cast. I still think as a former Knicks fan might relate to this. I still think that the odds of J.R. Smith playing a meaningful role in an NBA champion doesn't ring true to the ear.
I was about to say, when you say the second or third best player maybe of all time, I said you speak very highly of J.R. Smith.
He
did hit back-to-back threes in that game.
I hear you. The supporting cast seems to be playing better, but I don't. You look at Oklahoma City. You look at. It's not so much that I'm ripping the East. I think the Cavaliers are the 4th best team in the league, so they could win. They just happen to be in the East. But I think those other teams are all better.
I've heard this a couple times before, and I just think it's not ridiculous, but the idea of you can make the NBA Finals absolutely means you have a shot at winning the NBA Finals, given anything can happen in a 7-game series. And while I believe, yes, that the Warriors are a better team than the Cavs and the Thunder are a better team than the Cavs, I look at what experience has done for LeBron James. LeBron James has been in this situation more than anybody else pretty much combined left out of the remainder of the playoffs, and that's going to show, I think, in Game 4, which is tonight.
Right,
and I think that factor alone, LeBron's ability to really take over a basketball game, even though we know he's 2-4 in the NBA Finals, and his record is not spectacular like Michael Jordan's, but, granted the East is maybe not as battle-tested, it wasn't like they were coming out of these games.
Gee, you're saying what I'm saying. I'm saying they can win. Of course they can win. They're the fourth best team in the league, but I am...
Who do you put, the Spurs out of them, too?
Put the Spurs out of them, yeah, sure.
That's fair.
And of course they can win. I mean, and anyone can, and just like anybody can win the election in November. There's only two people in it. One of them could win it. But you assess what their likelihood is. And to me, that likelihood is pretty low. A 538 has them with a 28% chance, and that's with almost a guarantee that they get past the Raptors.
Which is tied with who?
The Warriors. The Warriors are down 2-1 and playing a better team.
That's a fair point.
That suggests that either what it suggests is that either the Warriors or the other team that the Warriors are playing, the Thunder, are going to be about a 3-1 favorite over Cleveland, and that's what I'd say. And so if Channing Frye has 3 games where he hits 7 threes, the Cavaliers.
Kevin Love was abysmal.
And so is Kyrie Irving.
But
Both
the thing
were
is,
rough.
I'm telling you, this is my bold prediction for the finals. If the Cavs make the finals, they would much rather play Golden State, I think, than play the Thunder, because when Toronto started to dominate in the paint, as the big men of Kanter, Adams, and Serge Ibaka would do, it frustrates the Cavs a lot more so, because they can't rely solely on their ability to adapt and drive to the paint to get them through those sticky phases when they're not shooting well from 3. And I think that Golden State, the Cavs would approach Golden State very similar to the way the Thunder would approach Golden State. But if the Cavs go up against Thunder, who are a lot more physical than them with their big men, I think they'll be frustrated a lot more so than playing against Golden State.
I think that the smart bet right now, I think that we know the Warriors would be a prohibitive favorite over the Cavs if they get to the final. I'm curious how much of a favorite the Thunder would be over the Cavs. Because I love the Thunder in that series. Again, I'm not saying Cleveland has no chance, but I love the Thunder in that series. And in fact, the smart bet right now is probably take the Thunder to win the NBA title right now.
If you could have gotten it before the series started, that's the best.
Yeah, but they're still an underdog over all of the Warriors.
Still good money on it?
You still get.
We have a few elements to get to. First of all, LeBron flopped. LeBron took an elbow via Tristan Thompson via DeMarre Carroll. We have a little piece of that you can see here. It's a nice. The Oscar goes to, which there's no sound. It's tough to see from that exact angle, but yeah, there it is.
It's hard to watch, man.
Yeah, it's Ben, you review movies for a living?
Who elbowed him?
So basically, DeMarre Carroll and kind of Tristan Thompson were in a tiny scrap, and Tristan Thompson put up his hand or his arm. DeMarre Carroll kind of gave him a little shove, and it was Tristan Thompson's elbow.
Right,
it was LeBron. It was his own player.
I don't think it was his elbow. I think it was his forearm.
Or his forearm.
And it hit LeBron's shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He kind of gave the.
He got the fall on the floor.
By the way, afterwards, why LeBron didn't retaliate is he cited Jay-Z.
I guess, I always think back to the Jay-Z phrase in a line he had of, if I shoot you, then I'm brainless. If you shoot me, you famous. What am I to do? So that always plays in my head anytime I feel like I want to react. I gotta keep my.
He said basically, he cites Jay-Z and he says, if I shoot you, I'm brainless. If you shoot me, I'm famous. And it's unbelievable when you have LeBron James sitting next to, as you mentioned, the second or third greatest player of all time, Ben.
No reason for me to get J.R. Smith. I mean, I actually like J.R. Smith.
I think he's got the best three-point celebration in NBA history.
But I don't. I mean, the reason you didn't retaliate is because you weren't attacked. Sort of the best reason not to retaliate.
Yeah.
You know what? A lot of people are gonna, if they call LeBron James a flopper, they call many players in the NBA floppers. I was going to go with the who cares line. I was also going to go with the fact that DeMarre Carroll got a technical. So you pretty much did the best thing you could have done for your team in that situation. Now, it's not just, it's unfair, blah, blah, blah. You got a technical.
It's a game. They're referees. There's a history that's pent up, and who knows? I mean, has LeBron ever gotten called for a foul that he didn't commit? Actually, not LeBron. He hasn't. But other players. No, I mean, I don't know why everybody cares whether players flop. I mean, now they have a rule in there, and if they catch you flopping, they can.
You get fined.
You get fined. You get suspended eventually. So, I got. But the actual why we're outraged by somebody flopping, I played for a lot of years, and I was a really good defensive player.
I thought you were going to say I was a really good flopper.
Oh, but I was. I mean, I was a great. I was the I was the best defensive player in our league, best little man defensive player in our league.
Sunday
And I
basketball.
flopped all the time. And it worked. It was great. I'd do it again.
The point, my last point on the downfall of this series, the amount of fouls is ridiculous. There is, I think Toronto's.
Both series. Yeah.
No, I think the Cavs are definitely fouling as well, but Toronto, I believe, have committed double the amount of fouls of the Cavs, if I'm right, or along that term. It's ridiculous. I mean, I love the free-flowing nature of basketball. That's why I'm drawn to it now. That's why I want to watch it as much. I love it. It's a lot compared to when I'm watching American football and it's stop-start. But in this series, there's a lot of fouls.
Yeah, there's been a lot.
fouling out.
Both series. I would say both series, especially for the Thunder, who had, I think, 35 free throws in that game. All right, so both NBA playoff clips, I think, at this point are up. Make sure to check them out. They're in the description box below. They're in the cards. You can click on them in Ben's corner of the screen. We'll leave you with this. Drake trolled LeBron James as quickly as he could after the Raptors win at Air Canada Center. He sent this champagne poppy Instagram out? Tweet? What's the word? Insta out? What is it?
Are you in the millennial generation?
No, not at all.
He sent his Insta. He sent this Insta.
He sent this Insta out. Thank you, Frank. Oh, crying LeBron
What was his
James.
caption?
It was, I don't think, well, maybe there was a caption. I didn't see it. Well, I mean,
Interesting.
look, picture says 1,000 words. That's the whole point of Instagram. You don't need captions. It's supposed to be pictures.
What's the point of all that? That LeBron was sad that they lost?
It's sad, like crying LeBron. Toronto got a win. He's a fan. He's a fan.
Toronto, one of the great cities in the world. Everybody should visit Toronto.
And I guess according to Ben, Chicago.
And then Glasgow.
And Glasgow.
No.
All right, comment below, everybody. Everything's in the description box in terms of social media, all the links. Let us know what you think about Game 4. That's about to be coming tonight. Cavs in 5, Cavs in 6,
Cavs in 4.
Raptors in 7,
Cavs in 4.
Cavs in 4.
Cavs in 4.